How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? This is Coach Karvell Bailey. Let me get myself set up a little bit.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Welcome, welcome. So today we got three things to talk about today. Three things briefly to talk about today, and then we right back this evening for life and basketball. We're going to talk about more about the NBA Finals. Talk about protecting fans, players, coaches, referees. We're going to get into that. Get in a lot of sportsmanship things that the NBA can do. But today we're talking about three main things, and I'll go through them in a minute. Listen, I definitely like to welcome you guys here. Turn the media down, like to share. Definitely like to welcome you guys here. If you haven't had the opportunity, I want you to go and check out. I want you to go check out my YouTube page. Go to my YouTube page at Coach Karvell Bailey. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Lots and lots of great information. Matter of fact, the first two people that subscribe to my Facebook, or not my Facebook, to my YouTube page, the first two people that subscribe, I'm going to send you a digital copy of the first chapter of my book. The first two people that subscribe to my YouTube. All right. The first two people that subscribes and follow me. The first two people that follow me on my Instagram at Coach Karvell Bailey. I'm going to send a digital copy of the first chapter of my book. Now, if you happen to be the same person that subscribed to my YouTube page as well as my Instagram, you might get the first two chapters. All right. Now, for those that are seeing it on my Facebook page, same way at Coach Karvell Bailey, I want you to go and like and follow that page as well. Being honest, being even, the first two that starting since this live started, because there's been people earlier today, but since this live started, the first two people, and because it's here, the first two people that can like this page and then share this actual live. So I see if you shared it. I see if you liked it. If you like it and you share it, then I'm going to send you the first copy of the book as well. All right. So go to my YouTube page, my Instagram, and my Facebook at Coach Karvell Bailey. Follow those on this particular Facebook page. You got to like and you have to share it. Now, if you see it on my personal page, it don't count. You got to go to Coach Karvell Bailey. So today, real fast, we are going to talk about the NCAA may be in trouble. The NCAA may be in a whole lot of trouble. And what do I mean by that? We all know that they're dealing with the FBI investigations and all of that, but that just adds to everything that's happening right now with the NCAA. And so the NCAA, for the second week straight, has lost a top prospect that was going to a Division I school. And going to a Division I school is a lot of things that go into that. That Division I school, in those coaches' contracts, they get bonuses for certain number of wins. Anything over that, they get bonuses. They go to a postseason tournament, they get bonuses for each game that they win in the postseason tournament, whatever it may be. We have so many postseason tournaments now. The NCAA tournament. You have the NIT tournament. You have like the CSI tournament. It's about 4 or 5 now. It's about 4 or 5 different postseason tournaments. Well, coaches get bonuses for going to those tournaments. What those bonuses then brings more awareness to the school, to the program. That increases the number of participants coming to camp every year. And then that allows for those programs to pay their staff a little bit more money based on, the program getting more notoriety. So the head coach gets it on the front end and then is able to pass it down to the rest of their staff on the back end. But it all comes off the backs of the fans. So I'm saying all that, I'm a former, college head coach, and So I wouldn't tell you anything to make us as coaches look bad, but in contracts, that's how it's all stated. That's why, it's important for coaches. That's why some coaches, literally sometimes lose their top because it's a lot of money. It's a lot of, this is big business. And so it started last year. LeVar Ball created his own league, said, okay, look, if, I don't like what's going on with my sons, you're going to suspend them, whatever, we're going to start our own league. And he's going to just play in our league. And then from there, things started to happen. So since LeVar Ball, let's look at it, just some major things. The G League, where the G League was normally, I think a G League top salary was like $14,000. I think they're going to pay now up to like $100,000. I don't know the numbers right away, but I do believe that that is close to $100,000. Actually, let's say, and I'm looking while we on. So it was $7,000 per month or $35,000 for the 5-month regular season. But now the G League is willing to offer up to $125,000 G League contracts. So if you can play, you go from $35,000 to $125,000. That's huge. That's big. And they're willing to offer this to top high school players. And so this is what I mean by the NCAA is in trouble, because the exploitation is real. Now, I'm not saying that coaches exploit players. I'm not saying that schools purposely exploit players. Yeah, I am. Well, no, they don't purposely exploit them, but it does happen. There's no way that a player can walk past the bookstore on their way out let's say, one of the main entrances to the dormitory, and they're on their way to the store to be able to buy them a bag of chips. Now, you saw this player on TV last week, played their heart out. Now, this week, let's say Sunday, 6:00 p.m., all cafeterias are closed. No food. Player has about $3 in his pocket because the player can't have a job because they're on scholarship. So now the player is walking out the dormitory to go to the gas station to spend their last $2 on some chips and, maybe like a honey bun or some candy, or maybe double up and get a couple bags of chips. Well, that player has their last $2, but on the way out, they walk past the bookstore, and the bookstore has a replica of the jersey that they had on the previous Sunday, playing in that hard-fought win. And that jersey is in the bookstore with a tag on it that says $75. So now an athlete that has their last $2, just like the Blues song, right? My last $2. They got $2. And they got to go to the gas station to buy them some chips and a pop, or chips and candy, or go and get a hot dog meal or something that $2 can buy. Because again, even if they go to the store and the store person says, here you go, I like the game you played yesterday, here you go, take it. Guess what the NCAA gonna do? The NCAA gonna say, even though you had $2, even though you only had $2 and you are hungry, I'm not gonna say starving, but you're hungry, and you went to the local gas station where those people bet in Vegas and just won $5,000 on your performance. And so for thanking you, they're not going to charge you for your chips and your candy. I didn't say they're going to give you money. They're just going to say, hey, you played your ass off. Go ahead and take it. It's on me. Well, if the NCAA find out about it, they deem it a violation, players ineligible. The program may even suffer a little bit. But that jersey is on sale for $70. So you're exploiting me and my hard work to be able to make additional money from the school. But then the NCAA comes to put all these sanctions on the school and say what I can't do as an athlete. How do you think that make me feel? So now let's go back why the NCAA may be in trouble. So last week, I think the number 2 recruit in this class, RJ Hampton. And if you know me, you know I got my notes, right? RJ Hampton. He signed a deal. He just signed a deal to go to the NBL. He just signed a deal to go to the NBL, all right, the New Zealand Basketball League, and that's in Australia. Well, this guy could have went to Kansas, could have went to a couple more places, and it's not like he's not an excellent student. Let me explain. See, RJ Hampton has a 1,300 SAT and a 3.7 grade point average. That same RJ Hampton that called out LaMelo Ball, I believe, last year, like wanted to play against him. 1,300 SAT, 3.7 GPA. He could have went to any school in the country he wanted to, plus he can play. But players are starting to wisen up. Players are starting to understand that I am my own brand. I'm my own brand. A whole lot of players don't understand it because they still hurt their chances of doing anything by the stuff they post on social media, some of the ways that they may act in public, or even their grades. He don't have this problem. 1,300, 3.7, and he could play. But you know what RJ Hampton said? I've heard the story about them people on Sunday nights. And I'm using Sunday nights because the cafeteria closed early, most campuses. RJ Hampton, hey, I've heard those stories. And I'm just paraphrasing. $75 for my jersey, the kid got $2. And so they got to make a choice. They can go get the free food, which is gonna make them ineligible. Spend their last $2, which they have no problem with. The problem is with the jersey being sold and they don't get no part of it, or they can go steal it. After they steal it, they possibly lose their scholarship, get kicked out of school, possibly be arrested, and even more things. And I'm giving you these 3 examples because as a coach, I've witnessed it. As a player and as a coach, I've witnessed it. And see, as a Division I walk-on, I didn't have to deal with all that because I wasn't on scholarship. But my buddies were. And my buddies sometimes didn't have money to eat. And my buddies couldn't work in the summer. And my buddies' jerseys were being sold in the bookstore. And we was at a smaller Division I college. So RJ Hampton said, peace, I'm out. I'm going to Australia. And then what he said was profound. First of all, he understands he's a brand. And let me tell you, because the story broke on Get Up, the ESPN show that comes on in the morning with Mike and Jalen. So he broke the story there, and he actually called them. I had somebody call him and say, I want to be on the show to break this story. That's marketing. That's genius. So he got on there, and here's what he said. He said, listen, when I look at the kid from Dallas, Luca, he said, when I look at Luca, he said, Luca never went to college, and he turned out to be a pretty good NBA basketball player so far. The kid has a point. Now, and I help players getting college on scholarships all the time. So I'm not knocking the whole idea of college. I'm not. I'm just saying that for those better players that has an opportunity, just like baseball or some other, or even a student fresh out of high school to say, I want to go to the military and begin working on my career. This is what RJ Hampton said. I want to go overseas and start developing like a pro. I want to start learning the things that pros are supposed to do, like with all their downtime. Like I want to start learning that now so that when I get back to the NBA, I know how to act. When I get back to the NBA, because the goal of most overseas players is to get back home. You get back home, by getting to the league. Or some players say, I'm going to get back home to get to the G League because they understand that the G League is a faster route to the NBA as opposed to just overseas. So the main goal is to come back home. So he wants to develop and have training. He want to have those same freshman courses, but he's saying this, English, this math, science, some of these humanities, all those things aren't going to help me because I want to be a basketball player. Now, hopefully, and I'm saying with RJ because at a 1300 SAT, 3.7 grade point average, and he's like the number 2 prospect or recruit, he's not your average player. So average players shouldn't try this. You should go to college. You should allow for the game of basketball to develop you into a much better and productive individual, hands down. But for those elite players, now the NCAA is in trouble because RJ Hampton did it 2 weeks ago. Today, and the story broke, a week later, Kenyon Martin Jr. said he's going to play international basketball. I'm telling y'all, it's starting. Now, listen, just like RJ Hampton wasn't the average person, Kenyon Martin Jr. is not the average person either. Like, these two guys are probably getting advised pretty well, and especially the way that RJ, did everything. You tell that he's getting advised pretty good. Kenyon Martin, his father was the number 1 pick. The number 1 pick. And if you have a chance to listen to Kenyon Martin, every time I think of Kenyon Martin, one of my first thoughts to come up with Kenyon Martin is Trina, because I don't know if y'all remember the lips on the neck, the tattoo when he was dating Trina back in the day. But Kenyon Martin, he's the number 1 draft pick. He's been to the NBA Finals. And if you listen to him talk now, he understands the game. And of course he understands the game, but he understands the big picture. And he's willing to share. Like the same way Steven Jackson, and Steven Jackson is not the most, let's say, polite person, but he's going to give it to you real. He's basically, they're basically doing what I'm doing here on the college side, just kind of giving it to you real and not really caring who hears, sees, or comments about it because it's all the truth. So Kenyon Martin obviously told his son, you can go anywhere you want. What you going to school for? I'm rich. I'm rich. Y'all know the Dave Chappelle line, right? Kenyon Martin, we rich. You playing basketball for the love of it. You don't need to go to college to get a degree so that you can now do something. If basketball doesn't go well, we already rich. Already did it. And you a junior. You my son. So everything that I have, I'm leaving to you. You got to work for it. But why not go start on your career now? The NCAA is in trouble, y'all. And it ain't even came out yet about, all the FBI investigations. But the NCAA is in trouble because what if now all those top prospects said, either cut me in or cut it out. That's what me and all my friends used to always say. All right, if you're watching now, you're watching on the replay, wherever you may watch it, all right, if there's a link for you to comment, I want you to comment, cut me in or cut it out. All right? Cut me in or cut it out. That's basically what RJ Hampton and Kenyon Martin Jr. is saying. Cut me in or cut it out. And if enough of the top recruits, the people that say, oh, this is a top recruit, this is a top recruit, if enough top recruits start saying, we going overseas, the NBA has got to change their rules and say, okay, listen, NCAA, we letting the players come right over here right away to the NBA. And really, the NBA don't even have to do that because it's not affecting the NBA. It's not affecting the NBA. This is only affecting the NCAA. This is only affecting the NCAA. So if enough of those players said, you know what, guess what we're going to do? We're going to start going overseas until the NBA say cut me in or cut it out. That's why I had you type that in. Cut me in or cut it out. You're either going to compensate us a percentage of every jersey that you sell. You're going to cut me a percentage of every EA games that you sell that has my likeness on it. Think about it. See, some of the people that may be watching, may not be old enough to understand for a long time. Michael Jordan didn't allow his likeness to be used, and he was in the pros. It's you. If you work this hard, you don't want somebody just to use you. Michael Jordan didn't allow people to use his likeness. And guess what? Go look on any game today. Go look on any game today and tell me if you see Charles Barkley. Go look on any video game today and let me know if you see Charles Barkley. You may see somebody look like Charles Barkley. You won't see Charles Barkley's name. Charles Barkley like, man, I'm not. Use me if y'all want to. So see, basketball players are starting to understand, starting to recognize their value and that they are the brand. And so guess what? What this does, if all the top players start eluding the NCAA, well, yeah, the NCAA may lose a little money. And I'm saying a little money in the eyes of the NCAA. Like they may lose a couple million, right? That may be little money for them because this is big business. But what it does on the flip side is it opens it up for all the mid-level players. For all the mid-level players that has to go to college, if more of those top-tier players leave school, because guess what? If it's, I think RJ Hampton was like going to camp, like Bill Self has to go back to work right now. Not only is he losing a scholarship player, but he's losing like one of the top players in his class. Think about it. If any of those dudes from Duke said we're not going to Duke around this time of the year, Coach K had to go back to work. But that's why they get paid the big dollars. Bill Self get paid a lot of money to go back and say, hey, something happened. We still interested in you. That's why I tell athletes all the time, don't big time schools. Don't big time schools because you never know what may happen. Now, I don't want to get off on a tangent because that's a whole nother course. But the NCAA may be in trouble. And so Kenyon Martin broke today on the same day that the NCAA Division I announced that they're moving a three-point line back to the international what's the word I'm looking for? Length. So they're going to move back to the international length. Now, so the high school three-point line right now is 19 feet, 9 inches. 19 feet, 9 inches. That's the furthest that it is. 19 feet, 9 inches all the way around. College is 20 foot, 9 inches. So college is back 1 foot. But if you ever go in a gym, you may see 2 lines on the average court. Some courts you may see 3 if they have a pro line. But you'll see the 19 foot 9 going around, right? And then a foot back, you'll see the 20.9 foot. Well, Division I, now they're moving to 22.1 3/4. So we got roughly like 2.1 feet that the three-point line is moving back. So now guess what happens when that happens? Again, you might be able to shoot from 19 to 20. That's not a big difference. But 20 to 22, that's a big difference. You got to have some leg power with that. So now, even those players that did sign Division I, because the coach might have thought that they were a shooter, but what if they can't shoot from that length now? Because a lot of great high school three-point shooters aren't great college three-point shooters. A lot of great college three-point shooters aren't great NBA shooters. So you have to practice that shot, and you have to practice that shot in game speed, going like full game reps. Because it's a longer shot, meaning you have to have more strength, and you're a little bit tired in the context of the basketball game going up and down. And so now those mechanics and those reps really mean something now. Because what it does is now for that average player, that mid-level player that could stroke it and shoot the leather off the ball, they just gave themselves an opportunity, especially if they can shoot from deep. Because we all know those players that can shoot from deep. Well, if that player that could knock that shot down from 20 foot, maybe 21, but they're constantly short on that 22-foot shot, or just mentally because they're like, man, I got to shoot from way back here, changes the game. Now as a coach, I got to realize, can I really use you at this point? You know, we got those stretch fours. It's easy for a stretch four to shoot that 19-foot, that 20-foot shot. Can they shoot that 22-foot shot? So see, the game will change. So the NCAA game, as we know it, will change. That's just the first rule change that they're putting in. Now, Division II and Division III schools, it will move next year, the 2020 season, 2020-2021 season. We're going into the 2019-20 season. But Division II and Division III will change Division 2020-2021 season. Does that make sense? I know I was saying all those numbers. All right, so this year, coming up, just Division I. The following year, year 2, it'll be Division II, Division III, and I'm pretty sure junior college will follow because everything starts from Division I and then it trickles downhill. So what we see with the NCAA, even they move from 35 to 30 second shot clock, it may even get a little bit smaller. Just like with the NBA, they want to speed the game up and they want more points so they can sell more tickets. You see how we got right back to number one real quick? Because if you sell more tickets, the school get more money, but the athletes don't. So the NCAA is in trouble. That three-point line is moving back. Here's my tip for everybody that wants to get better with that shot. All right, start at 19-foot and master that shot. You got all something. Start at 19-foot and master that shot with the proper mechanics. And then go to the old college line. And, you know, certain schools you go to, if you go to a Division II, Division III junior college, they still have the same line because it hasn't changed yet. But start at 19-foot, master that. Then go to 20-foot, master that, and then work your way back out. And then understand that the shots from the corners are a little bit longer than up top. All right. Now, the last and final thing that we're going to talk about today, listen, again, if you're just getting on, all right, you want to make sure that you go back and watch this from the beginning because I got some great things in there for you. Sometime at the beginning, I don't know when I mentioned them, but you go back and watch it from the beginning. You can probably go back anyway. You should go back anyway because it's a lot of good information. If you got an athlete that needs to hear this, if you got a coach that needs to hear this, even some of your administrators may need to hear this, you know, to enlighten them, or parents that need to, you know, hear this. You can play it at one of your team meetings or something. If you want to help out the parents, by all means, do it. Okay. But just understand that basketball, as we know it from a college level, is about to change. It's about to change. And then finally, the NBA Finals. I can go on and on and on and on about this. But about a week ago, I did actually I did my show, Life in Basketball, and I was talking about Nick Nurse, talking about the Raptors. Reason why the Raptors can win a championship. And I gave the first thing. The first reason was Nick Nurse. The second reason why they could win the championship, and the third reason why they could win the championship is in the actual title to this live, or the link is in the title to this live. One of my former players, Mike Williams, he will be on as one of my guests today. We're going to just chop it up and talk about some of this NBA stuff. But he has a new podcast called Same Spit, Different Face. And so with him, I'm actually like the resident coach that comes on. And so I have a segment called Karvell's Corner. But the first episode is in the actual link. The link is in the title to this live if you go back and watch it. But go and listen to it. Great. And we got real deep. We got real deep. And we still didn't even touch on a whole lot of things. But you want to go back and listen to it. You can listen to it while you're cutting the grass. You can listen to it even while you're working out. You know, if it's lifting, running, in the gym, you know, you can listen to it while you're sitting around the house. But you definitely want to plug in, put them earphones in and listen to it while you're driving. You got that window time. You know, if you got a nice amount of time, because I think we, you know, and as I say, we go real deep. I think we're talking for about an hour and 10 minutes or something like that. And I broke down a lot that can help parents, coaches, and players. And I'm not going to say that I surprised myself, but I didn't think we were going to go as deep. I didn't think I was going to be able to, you know, give all the information in the podcast. And that's why I wanted to break them up, because it's 3 different segments, 3 different reasons why the Raptors can win this championship. I haven't said that they will win, even though I would like to think that they have the greatest opportunity to. But go listen to this podcast, please. Go listen to this podcast. It's going to help you so much. It's going to help you understand basketball a little bit more from the eyes of the coach at the Raptors. It's going to help you to understand play more with the team. It's going to help you to understand what it takes to be a leader. It takes to be a real leader. I give some things and talk about some things with Kawhi Leonard that I just learned. And, you know, and I listened to the TV, you know, earlier today as I was, you know, getting this story about the new 3-point line being moved and Kenyon Martin Jr. And they were talking about how Kawhi Leonard, probably if they win, it'll help him sign back. But they were saying like he's such a closed book. If you do your homework on Kawhi Leonard, it'll make sense. I understand Kawhi Leonard so much more by what we talked about in that podcast. All right. And that was the third point. So I ain't going to tell you the second point, but the second point is key. Second point is very, very, very key. The first and third points are too. But anyway, so I feel like I'm rambling. So I'm, you know, ready to cut it off. We've been going long enough. I feel as though you can take everything from this live and then listen to the podcast, players, parents, coaches. It'll set you up for at least a good 3 weeks. If you listen to this from the beginning and you listen to that podcast, it's going to set you up for a good 3 weeks. And then guess what? You can have both of them at your hands, at your disposal. And so every 3 weeks or whatever, go back and tap into it. But with all this changing with the NCAA, you know, things with the NBA and, you know, join us live. I'm on my business page now, my coaching page, Coach Karvell Bailey. This evening, be right back here. Gonna be right back here on this page. And we're going to bring Life in Basketball to this page instead of my personal page. Now I just share it from there. But that's what we're going to do today. And then we're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about Kyle Lowry being pushed. We're going to talk about how do we protect players, athletes, coaches, referees, and all of those things. But with everything happening with the NCAA right now, you really want to get your kid and get them developed. there are a lot of great people out here that's doing a lot of great things. So you want to get them with someone that knows what they're talking about and then know what they're doing. Some people can know what they're doing, but they don't know what they're talking about. So they shouldn't be talking while they're doing it, because they may be doing it, but give you a whole different explanation. Some people that understand, they can tell you, but they can't show you. Okay, you want to give it somebody that you know that will take care of your kid and help them develop in ways in which they need to be developed. And for a parent, again, if you watch this and you listen to the podcast, you will understand some things. Even if you have your kid with who you feel is one of the greatest coaches, that's your kid, that's your athlete. So I'm saying that to say this. As a parent, you have to be aware and you have to know what you're seeing and what you're hearing, and if it's right for your child. Because I see videos all the time, and parents with children. I have my children. I'm elated. Some parents are paying for services or having their kids in services, and they're practicing bad habits. It's one thing to have bad footwork, but it's another thing to be traveling. Does that make sense? That's just the example that I'm using. It's one thing to not have, proper footwork, but it's another thing to be traveling. So you don't want to be traveling while you're doing your moves. As a parent, like, hey, look at this. This is amazing. It is, but it's not right. So listen, I'm going to drop some links down here if you want to be connected to me, and get an opportunity to get a look inside our Shooting Threes course. All right, go check it out. I'm going to drop the link here, and we'll go from there. All right, Coach Karvell Bailey. See y'all tonight. Peace.